What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here today, you guys, with a brand new review for The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16, Episode 3, you guys. This episode was titled High Notes and Cheap Shots, you guys. Now, before we do get into it, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date, having me pay for it at the end of it. And you guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and also by sharing the video. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let us go ahead and get into The Real Housewives of Atlanta, shall we? All right, you guys, so we're gonna start up with Britt. Now, Britt. So we see Britt as, now I don't know if this was all of her family or if this was some of her and Mike's family. Well, actually, I think it was a mixture because we saw Mike's sister come over. Now, Britt in her interview is still talking about how she was that girl in high school in music videos. Now, Britt, I got a lot of questions for you. How were you able to shake your ass in music videos in high school? Because unless you were 18 years old at the time, then okay. But if you under the age of 18, ma'am, I'm looking at your mama and your daddy sideways that they would allow that to happen. Knowing what we know about the music industry and the way that they, in the music videos, the girls were objectified. The things that happen behind the scenes, but hey, whatever. Now, Britt and Mike are talking about, having a baby. Now, am I the only one that was kind of confused? Because in last week's episode, they were talking about IVF, right? He didn't seem like he was interested in it last week. But now this week he's talking about it as soon as possible. And I was like, huh? I was so confused. So then Britt went downstairs with his sister. So they're talking. Now, when it comes to Britt and this story about her dad, right? Which I do know that this can happen because I have saw this happen where people have wills and there can be some issues once the person passes away and getting access to money and things of that nature. So Britt says that's why she went into the insurance business because, her dad, I think she said he had a $2 million policy. They didn't get the money, so they had to do a GoFundMe in order to bury her father. But then she's talking about the fact that with her insurance business, she had her two sisters working for her, right? And she sold the business. One of her sisters she had to let go of, but I guess because things got a little unprofessional, I think the other one just ended up quitting. So Britt is talking about how her relationship with her sisters is not as strong as it once was. And I was like, okay, very interesting. Very interesting. One thing about Britt, her voice is just on the annoying side, just a teensy-wincy bit. Hella annoying. Am I the only person that feels like Britt's voice is just a little annoying? I'm not annoyed with Britt. I'm just annoyed with her voice. She talked about she dated Rick Ross. What am I supposed to do with that? That's all I got with Britt. Let's move on to the next person. All right, you guys. So next up, let's talk about Portia. So the first thing we see with Portia is out to dinner with Kelly, right? So Kelly comes in, they sit down, they talk, right? And now Kelly, when you were asking why did Portia take that woman's husband, it wasn't in the way that you're trying to paint this out, girl, you were being messy, you were getting the shit started. But then, Portia says, well, the way that you're telling me this is not the way that Shamia brought it to me. Portia, Shamia brought it to you as a friend looking out for another friend. Like, I don't know where Portia's brain is, but she was looking out for you as a friend. So then Kelly says that Shamia told Kelly to ask Portia about the situation. And I'm like, Kelly, you putting 20 on 10 when it comes to this. Yes, Shamia did say talk to Portia, but what Shamia said was if you have any questions for Portia, you need to talk to Portia. And that's what she said. She ain't say, oh, if you want to know why Portia took that woman's husband, well, you better ask Portia at my birthday party. That is not what she said, Kelly. So you are putting 20 on 10. And it's much like what you said. You know, if you're gonna have to come in there and be knuck if you buck and stuff with Portia. I think you're trying to tread lightly with Portia at this point. That's what it's given to me. Tell me what you guys think. But I was like, ma'am, and then I was wondering. I was like, so is this? Because you guys know Portia talked about it earlier last week that she didn't promote Shamia's song. She said Shamia didn't send her the song. I was like, now Portia, y'all know I do like Portia, but girl, you could have easily went to her Instagram, screen recorded it, did something, took a screenshot of the single cover. You could have done a lot of things to promote your best friend's album. I mean, single. Oh, speaking of which, well, actually, we'll talk about that person once we get to her in just a little bit, right? But Portia and Kelly, they good with each other, right? So then we see Portia and Diane go out to the spa. So Portia is talking about this stuff with Simon and how, when she filed for divorce, she reached out to Simon's family to get help when it comes to the whole African side of the marriage, right? Basically, the family told her, girl, we ain't got it the fuck to do with you and we ain't got it the fuck to do with him, right? And Portia is talking about how this divorce is much different than her divorce with Cordell. With Cordell, she felt like they were in the divorce together. With Simon, it doesn't feel that way. Well, no, it doesn't feel that way, Portia, because your husband, your current husband, is, well, he ain't currently on social media, but at that time when you were filming this season of Real Housewives of Atlanta, your current husband spent all his waking time on his Instagram stories. Anytime I would click on Instagram, the blogs are posting something that Simon has said or done to respond to Portia. The interesting thing with Portia, and I'm not going to say it right now because it's going to come back up a little bit later in the review, but never mind. Like I said, it'll come back up because we're going to talk about it once we get to Kelly's event. And that's actually why Kelly and Portia met, because Kelly is having an event for a mommy and daughter's brunch or something like that. Now, Portia told Miss Diane about Shamia. And I don't know what world Miss Diane and Portia lives in, because what Shamia did, like I said a few minutes ago, what Shamia was doing was being a good friend to you, Portia. Something that you haven't really been to Shamia, because you sat there and allowed Phaedra to talk shit about your best friend. I don't give a fuck how cool, how close we are, like with my best friend, right? I've been, like I told you guys, I've been friends with my best friend for over 20 years at this point, right? That is my sister. So even if which I do have new friends, right? I have new friends that she doesn't know, but they would eventually meet each other. And let's just say, somebody that I've been friends with for 5 or 6 years, right? And we go out to lunch and they say, oh, da 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 about your friend is fucking this person and fucking that person, right? I'm not gonna sit there and listen. First of all, I'm not gonna sit there and listen to that, because wait a minute. You and I are friends, cool. You may have an issue with my best friend, that's fine. You two can have an issue with each other. That ain't got nothing to do with me. But what you're not gonna do is talk shit, slander my best friend's name. And I'm gonna sit here and listen to it. And then I'm not gonna take it back to my best friend, because I absolutely will take it back to my best friend. So yeah, Portia, what Shamia did for you is what you should have did for Shamia when it came to the whole Phaedra situation, but that's neither here nor there. Also, speaking of Phaedra real quick, not to speak of her too long, but let's speak of her real quick, because you guys did see the scene for next week's episode. So next week's episode is Kenya's grand opening. And you guys know after Kenya's grand opening, that's the last we're going to see of Kenya. So we only going to see Kenya for 4 episodes. And y'all know Phaedra came in towards the latter half of the season. So that's probably why, because I was on Twitter the other day, and I saw where they were asking the ladies high or low, like for groceries, hair, food. They had one with Phaedra, and I was like, oh, now I get it. They showed Phaedra in that clip because Phaedra is getting ready to probably appear on this show. Am I looking forward to it? Absolutely the fuck not. But that's it with Portia and Miss Diane. Let's move on to the next person, you guys. Next person up, Drew. Speaking of Drew, shout out to Drew. You know, her album released last week. I have not gotten a chance to listen to her album, but I do know two people who have listened to her album and done reviews on them. One of them is Bonnie Scott. Go check out Bonnie's review. And also check out my friend Scotty's review. Scotty posted his yesterday. So definitely go check out Scotty's. I will be sure to um, in my in my community tab, I will be sure to post both of them in the community tab if you guys are at all interested in hearing about Drew's album. But yeah, you guys, Drew. So Drew is in the studio. Now, I will say one good thing about Drew. That song that she was recording in the studio, it was a bop. I was like, okay, I'm feeling this song. I am feeling this song. So she's in the studio. So Cynthia, Kenya, and Angela came to the studio, right? So they sit down. They talk about what's going on. So the first thing I want to talk about is Angela. So Angela lets us know that her marriage to Charles is her first marriage and it's his first marriage. Kenya did ask how they met, and she told Kenya how they met. I thought it was funny that she said, you know, she would ask the concierge when they were dating, you know, is Charles upstairs? Has he left his apartment? Like, where's Charles at? I thought I was like, okay, shit. If y'all live in the same building, shit, why not ask? Why not ask? So then we talk about Portia, Dennis, and Drew. Now, Drew. They just gonna show Drew to be a whole ass liar. Drew, you giving lying ass meal. So we just gonna call you lying ass Drew. Because Drew. So Kenya asked, was Dennis coming to the studio, right? And she also asked if she's talked to Dennis about Portia. So Drew says that, you know, she texts him because he doesn't really answer the phone. But then we see her on the phone with him. Hey, bro. I was like, Drew, ma'am, you lie. Then she says, it's business. They ain't really friends. But in her phone, it got Dennis, bro. I was like, Drew. Now, Kenya did ask, was Dennis coming to the studio? She said Dennis was supposed to come to the studio so that they could pick out the single. I was like, okay, Drew. I'm really trying with you, Drew. I am really trying. Like I told you guys last week, I do believe that Drew had a conversation with Portia. And I honestly feel like I feel like Drew and Portia both use each other because Portia can't talk about Simon. She can't film in the house. Drew, she ain't really talking about Ralph. Speaking of Ralph, y'all know Ralph is over here on YouTube. Ouch. Ralph is over here on YouTube and he got shit to say. Am I listening to what Ralph got to say? Absolutely not. If you guys want to listen to what Ralph says, go follow Ralph. Go subscribe to Ralph Pittman's channel and listen to what Ralph is saying. Listen to what he's saying, right? So I thought it was interesting that Kenya told Drew that the way you're being talked about is like you're a whore. I was like, yikes. Cynthia chimed in as well, and she was like, you know, when it came down to Kenya feeling at Life Twirl's own, I thought that show had got picked up by somebody. I thought they said that show had got picked up by a network, but neither here nor there, right? But or that was it a show or was it a movie? But I thought it had got picked up. Never mind. But Kenya went to Cynthia, you know, just be like, hey, girl, is it okay if I work with Leon? Because you guys remember Leon was in that was a pilot she shot. Thought it had got picked up, but neither here nor there, right? So then they talked about Shamia. Now, I know everybody love to say Kenya don't lie, but Kenya and Angela both lied on Shamia. Now, once again, they keep wanting to say that Shamia is the one who said, Shamia said to Drew, is she fucking Dennis? She did not ask Drew, was she fucking Dennis? She asked Drew, was she dating Dennis? Where did y'all get fucking from dating? Shamia never said those words, and I'm glad that they keep replaying that scene because Shamia never once said, are you fucking Dennis? She said, are you dating Dennis? But neither here nor there. And then we move on. Drew, this scene with you and your attorney, I know your attorney is telling you like what's going on with the divorce. We found out that Ralph, they had a hearing. Ralph came to a hearing by himself with no attorney and cross-examined Drew. So do you, what the fuck? So then the attorney told Drew that the divorce documents are sealed, but the judge has asked to have them unsealed. And so Drew said she's trying to protect her kids, but I'm like, are you really, Drew? I'm not saying you're not, but you saying you're worried about the documents being released, but then you asked your attorney what's in those documents. He's a serial cheater. He took money from you. He sexed with women. Women reached out to Drew. He took money from Drew, but Drew says she wants to protect her kids. I mean, I think you do want to protect your kids by vilifying their father. That's just kind of what it gives to me. Y'all can tell me if y'all agree, disagree. I mean, because Drew, you know it's on camera. You have a microphone pack on you, or you either have a mic pack on you, or either there's a boom over you. Either way it go, there is a microphone in your vicinity, and there is a camera to the side of you, in front of you, to the side. Like there is a camera somewhere in your vicinity. Am I mad about what she's doing? No. But let's be real, Drew. Let's be real. Let's pause here and move on to the next person, you guys. All right, you guys. So next up, we got Shamia. So Shamia is going to be a really quick scene. So you guys already know Shamia has the health issues with her youngest daughter, Shia, right? Well, her oldest daughter, she has to have, I think she had to have her tonsils removed, and there's some health issues with her as well because so she has her sisters over to her home. They did go and have some testing done on the baby, but then they also got a second opinion on the oldest daughter, right? So now Shamia, you guys know Shamia wants to go through IVF, and Shamia is kind of thinking to herself, is this something that she wants to do? She has asked Gerald, like, if this isn't something that is viable for us, then what's next for us? And he's just like, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So then we do see as Shamia and Gerald took the daughter to get her tonsils removed. She was so happy to go to the hospital. Even as a kid, I never enjoyed going to the hospital. Never. You can pay me to hell to the no. Like I remember when they found out that I had asthma, I was in a hospital for at least a week because of that. And I remember it. I remember being in that hospital bed, my aunts and my uncles coming to see me, and I was like, can y'all take me home? And I asked everybody, are you taking me home? Like I asked everybody to take me home because I was tired of that damn hospital bed. Like I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do anything. But I mean, I had an asthma as a grown ass man today. I'm like, you had an asthma attack. So of course they had to keep you, right? But that's really it. What we get with Shamia. We'll pause here and we'll move on to the next person, you guys. All right, you guys. Next up, we have Angela. So much like with Shamia, we didn't have much with Angela in this episode. So you guys remember in the last episode that we found out with Angela that Angela has investment properties, right? So we see as she and Charles went to one of their investment properties. It looked really nice, right? It looked nice. So, and you can definitely, they showed the before and the after. Now that grass, I agree with Charles, that grass needs to be tended to because that grass, it looked a little dead and it was patches in that grass. But other than that, they're good. So Angela is talking to Charles because she wants to have a vow renewal ceremony, right? Now they got married, I believe either they got married before 2017 or they got married in 2017. But Charles Oakley had went to a New York Knicks game, right? I guess the owner of the Knicks don't like Charles, so they saw Charles was there and they kicked Charles out, right? So that time period, that caused an issue in their marriage. Now, when Angela said to Charles she wants to have a vow renewal ceremony, he said, we'll see. She also mentioned she wants to go to therapy because she feels like there are some things that they need to discuss and hash out and iron out. He once again said, we'll see. Now, when it comes to Charles, again, like I said, I saw a lot of people who didn't like Charles from the first episode. Honestly, when it comes to Charles, I think Charles is just someone who is very nonchalant and just don't care. He goes with the flow of things, right? That's the vibe that I get from Charles. You guys can tell me what you think. I want to see what zodiac sign Charles is. Not that it matters to me, but I just want to know what his zodiac sign is. Oh, he's a I think he's a Sagittarius, right? He's a Sag, because his birthday is December 18th. I think he's a Sagittarius, because he's not, yeah, he is a Sagittarius, because he's not a Capricorn. He's a Sagittarius. Okay, that kind of makes a little bit of sense, but neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and wrap up the episode, you guys. All right, you guys, so to wrap up the episode, we wrap it up with Kelly. Now, I don't know the particular, so I'm going to use the letters that they use, OI. So she is having this event for OI at Balmain. I thought it was funny that when they got to arguing, she said, this is Phipps, not Lennox. And I'm like, girl, Phipps and Lennox ain't that far apart from each other. They not that far apart. Like, it's actually walking distance if I'm not mistaken. I feel like, yeah, Phipps and Lennox is, I mean, you could walk, would you want to walk? Not necessarily, but Phipps and Lennox ain't that far from each other. But okay. So she's having the event at Balmain, and she's bringing awareness to OI. Again, I don't know what OI is. It does, I think she said she summed it up as brittle bones, and I was like, okay. Cynthia, this wig you got on, beloved, burn it. And burn that wig that you had on when you went to see Drew in the studio. Burn those 2 wigs. Burn those wigs, please and thank you, Cynthia. And that wig from that first confessional. Burn all 3 of those wigs. They're ugly. They're ugly. Now, Cynthia is talking to Portia, right? Now, when I said earlier we're going to circle back to Portia, now let's circle back to Portia. Portia is talking about her divorce from Simon. And she's like, you know, I've had this man around my child. Portia, you should have listened when you got with that man. You and him dated. You didn't even, actually, y'all didn't even date each other. Y'all got together, was engaged, and then, not too long after that, married. You didn't take any time to get to know Simon, but okay, I mean, I guess if that's what you want to say and how you want to play things out, then shit, go ahead and do you, Portia. Do I care? No. So Shamia had me laughing when she was talking about Angela's nose and how it is like her nose. Ooh, I'm with my nose ring around. But you know, Angela's nose is like this. It's a pinched. It is pinched, and I'm like, oh my God, Angela, whoever did your nose, please ask for a refund, because your nose is giving LaToya Jackson. It really truly is. But she called her, she said that she's from the 90s. Yeah. So Kelly got up. She gave the story about OI. I thought it was really interesting. And I'm so glad that the doctors were there and looked at her daughter's eyes and saw that she has OI. I think she said 3 of her daughters have it, right? I'm so glad that the doctor, because she said CPS was there because they thought she was abusing her child. But turns out the child has OI and she has brittle bones. It's like, wow. I'm so glad that the doctors did that, right? So then we see as Angela went to have a conversation with Shamia. So Shamia was like, I would like to get to know Angela and not Drew's representative. And she said, oh, well, I'm both. And she said, oh. So she said, well, you got the same Angela. And Shamia was like, I'm good on that. And so then Angela calls Shamia mean. She says, it's like your name. She says, my name is Shamia. She said, yeah, Shamina. So then they going back and forth with each other, right? She keeps talking about, Shamia's talking about Angela's nose, right? And Angela called her Flavor Flav. Y'all, please stop going off of these clips that y'all see on social media, because I saw a lot of people last week on some of the blogs ready to rip Angela apart because of the whole Flavor Flav thing. Because I saw a lot of colorist thing, you know, people trying to say it was colorist. It wasn't colorist, you guys. And I didn't jump on it because I was like, we haven't saw the episode. I don't want to judge this woman. The reason why she called her Flavor Flav is because she feels like she's being Portia's hype person, and Portia is Chuck D. I was like, see, y'all was ready to attack this woman for no fucking reason. And then Drew comes 66 minutes late. I was like, damn, Drew, you might as well stay at home, but I know you couldn't, right? Now, Drew went up to Portia to have a conversation with Portia. Portia didn't want to have a conversation with Drew. And then I did notice it too. I was like, is that Allison standing behind Portia? And Portia said it in her interview. You got Drew trying to talk to me, and then you got Allison right behind me. Absolutely the fuck not. And that's the episode, you guys. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and share the video. And until the next time, you guys, stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.